Well, as Jason Clare famously said during the election campaign, the boss has got the bug, so you've got me. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the kind invitation, and thank you to everybody who's here. I'm very pleased to be joining you on the Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. Pay my respects to elders past and present, and pay particular respect to all my parliamentary colleagues who are here tonight, and particular respect to all the First Nations people from around Australia who are here tonight. I've been coming, I think, for close on 20 years to these events, and there have been two stalwarts who I don't think there's ever been one in that time, regardless of the office that they held, who have missed. And they're both Anthony Albanese and Tony Abbott. And both of them have been in top job, different job, didn't matter what job they had. They've always made sure that they were here. And that's in part because of a genuine friendship that a lot of us have with both Joseph and Angela. But it's also because these awards hold a very special place in who we are as Australians. It's getting better, but for too long, of the different sorts of Australian stories, only a particular sort of Australian story was told and celebrated. I'm very conscious that today is the 30th anniversary of Paul Keating delivering the Redfern speech, where Paul Keating made very clear that we should not be afraid to know our history. We should not be afraid to tell the truth about our history, and we should use that as a pathway for moving forward together as a nation. There are effectively two sorts of Australian stories. There are Australian stories that hold their basis on this continent all the way back to the first sunrise. And there are Australian stories that begin with immigration. Every one of us, as we go through our family history, has one or both of those sorts of stories in defining who we are. Tonight's awards are not to represent diversity in the sense of minority groups within Australia. Tonight is about celebrating the fact that without the full breadth of those Australian stories, our nation is incomprehensible. And for each of yourselves, whether a First Nations business or whether you're in the small or medium to large business categories tonight, we have people with their backgrounds going back to 40 different nations among the nominees tonight. We have people whose stories start either here, back to the first sunrise, or whose stories involve a heritage that goes way back beyond when they first came here. But from the moment you came here, your story became part of the Australian story. From the moment you made that decision, and I know for so many, and I love, as we go through the stories tonight, the commonalities we hear. And so many of them are common with the stories that you'll find in Joseph Assop's book, In Someone Else's Shoes, where you'll find the story of people saying, I came and I only had one suitcase, but it was a suitcase full of dreams. Of people in different ways starting their own business because the employment circumstance in Australia was not entirely fair for them. And then going off, starting their own business, employing people, often ultimately becoming competitors to the exact businesses that made the big mistake of not employing them in the first place. Whether you have started that business as a First Business Nations owner, or whether you've started in what's titled tonight as the ethnic business categories, when you made the decision to start, you made a decision very much, I suspect, about yourself and your family. You came here, and often people, when they arrive, had the intention that they wouldn't stay, but fell in love, either with someone who became a life partner or just fell in love with the place itself. But in starting that business, it might be for your family, for those you love, or just to make a living. And then it grows and it becomes the loyalty to the customers, to the contractors, the loyalty to your own staff. But what tonight acknowledges, and for every nominee, the reason so many of us from Parliament, past and present, keep coming back is because your story isn't just important for the people you think about every day in your business. Your story is important for Australia. Your story, your business, your work, your commitment, your values, your heritage is an essential part of knowing who we are as a nation. The crackle of your energy makes its way through every part of our society. We are not tonight simply celebrating individuals. We're celebrating what your efforts, expertise, commitment mean. As a nation, it's not like we owe you because we're part of you. It's not like you owe the country. We all owe each other. We're all part of that. And so tonight, when we celebrate you, we celebrate the best of modern Australia. And I can guarantee it took a global pandemic to stop Prime Minister Anthony Albanese from being here tonight. I suspect this will be the last time you get me as the stand-in. And so can I pass on from the Prime Minister his deepest respect for what you do, his deepest congratulations for what you are being honoured with tonight, and his deepest hope, because we know that it's your continued efforts that bind the future of our country.